Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and meet our new family addition. Its name is called Oreo. I've been filming all day here and it's been going on about around my toes and I'm sure it wants to run off anyway. So this is our new addition of the family. Meet our new addition Oreo. See? Its feet are quite cold. It's our new baby number 6 in the house. And you go. It wants to run off. There we go. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wemimo and I'm also known as Start Mama 5 and also known as TMO5 Kanduko. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back and do not hesitate to keep joining the family. So today I just felt I've got a thing or two to say, because obviously I've been in the union of marriage for 17 years. Is it up to that? I think roughly, if I get it wrong I'll pop it on the screen somewhere. And I've actually been watching quite a lot of videos in the past, and people are sharing, reasons why marriages fail. And the ones I've seen so far are like, reasons why marriages fail in the abroad. And you know what, marriages fail, or marriages failing or being successful is dependent on a few things, and few of those things happens with you and happens with your partner. And also, in order to be able to talk about why marriages are failing, you don't need to be an expert, you don't need to have data, you don't need to have statistics to be able to figure out that marriages are failing, divorces are going on everywhere. However, you wanting your marriage to be a success has to be down to the two party, and also making God the head of the union. And obviously we all want our marriages to work. Nobody intends to go into a marriage for it to not work or for it to fail. However, there are reasons, there are some things that could come into, or that could be a part of why marriages are failing. And I want to point out that each marriage is unique in its own way. There is no one recipe fits all, and because each person is different, and not to mention the trials and situations that could happen in a marriage and which could happen towards married couple. However, there are characteristics to a successful marriage, as well as some basic, I would say the videos I've been watching in the past, they are like basic characteristics of a marriage. However, there are other things which I'm going to be pulling from my own experience, which I hope I don't do TMI in this video, but I'm going to be sharing a few things that I've kind of like maybe transpired in my own marriage as well. And I felt that if I do not want the success of my marriage, I probably will not remain in it. However, because I want the success of my marriage, I've decided that okay, I'm gonna work towards it. So one of the things we always say is that okay, get married to your friend, get married to your friend. At the end of the day, friends betray each other, friends fight, and they go their separate ways. But one of the characteristics for a successful marriage is being able to compromise. That you need to learn. I've got my notes here. If in case you see me glancing down, I've got my notes typed up, so I might be glancing down a few times. So you need to learn to compromise, and there are many instances where couples might not agree. In fact, it might be as simple as what are you going to have for dinner, or what are we watching on Netflix, or what holiday are we going, where are we going on holiday. You must be aware that without a proper approach in that situation, a simple disagreement can lead to a fight that would eventually keep going on, and which at some point bring resentment in the marriage. So how do you turn this around? It depends on one of you or both of you. This shouldn't be a one party thing. Both of you should learn to compromise. Like any other skills, it has to be practiced. It's not something that we all grew up having. Me being able to compromise is not something that I grew up to knowing about. It's not something that was born with me. I learned up to, and this is what I would expect from my other half as well. Like if I'm learning to compromise to do things, you should also do the same. It shouldn't just be one person doing all of the compromising. And remember that both of you, like both partners, have to know how to compromise, give your own opinion, share your thoughts, compromise, and almost everything can be resolved if both of you can just agree and just compromise. Yeah, compromise. Yeah. So that's one characteristics I feel that if it's involved in a marriage, it will hold your marriage and your marriage will not fail. And the number two characteristics of a successful marriage, or if you want your marriage to be successful, is that you need to be able to turn setbacks to growth opportunities. So why marriages fail today is mainly because people think trials and setbacks are permanent. Like if you're going through an issue with your partner, some think it's going to be permanent, and some just don't care what or how long it ends or whatever it leads them to. But it's how you think, it's what you think about a situation that will lead you to believe that it's a failure. So if you're passing through something, you already think that, oh, this thing's not going to work, then you're already setting it up to fail already anyway. So if there's an instance in your marriage whereby you think, oh, this thing has been there for a while now, it's going to separate us, yeah, that's eventually what's going to happen. So you should be able to kind of like try and look at the bright side of a conflict. If a conflict happens between you and your partner, you should look at the bright side of that, why that has happened, talk about it with experience, talk about it and try out, just sit about it and talk about it and look onto the bright side, that if this has not happened, what would we do, what would I do, how would we have gone ahead with moving ahead with life. So conflicts do happen, and it's the way you approach it by looking on the bright side that you're able to learn to solve that the negative side of an instance in a marriage, but always look at the bright side of it. And I know this is easier said than done. Like for me, when setbacks happen, the kind of person I am, I find it hard to let go of failures and setbacks. So setback will be failures as well. I find it hard to let go of it. I always go back to it, and if I want to get on to do something, if that setback, that failure often comes to my mind, and for the fact that it keeps coming to my mind, it's sure not going to make any other thing I want to do to be successful, because I'm already using the negative side of that instance to cloud what I could do in order to move forward. So we should always turn setback to growth opportunities. That way your marriage will be safe. I know all of these things are easier said than done. Like I said, I've been married I got married at the age of 21, and I'm still in the same union now, and I believe that there are some things that I'm doing right, which means that I'm still in the union. So learn to turn setbacks to growth opportunities. This will ensure your marriage stays intact. And another characteristics to ensure your marriage lasts long and don't fail is that both of you need to work together. So you need to focus on working together. Don't just leave one part of you, like don't just leave the man or the woman to do all the work. And when I'm talking about working together, you have to do things together. Like marriages fail because most people are hopeless, or one person is hopeless. So if one person is hopeless, the other person, you just don't have to have the same mindset as that person. It may be financial aspect, and we all know how important it is for there to be a steady, permanent income in an household. Where there is just one person in an household that is working, trust me, that marriage is set to fail. And I'm talking from experience here. These are things that I've kind of like experienced in my marriage, and even currently it's still kind of like a struggle between us, because I'm of the fact that as a married couple, both of you should be working towards one goal. And if one person starts to pouring water into the buckets, as time goes on, the only person working is going to get tired, because especially if you're not able to place a finger on the reason why the other party is not willing, or maybe there was a time he or she or one person in the marriage maybe was sick for a reason. It's a different case. But if this lack of financial aspect has not been met for a very long time, as time goes on, the only person communicating, the only person bringing in the money is going to get fed up, and then before we know it, there will be violence in such marriages. There will be there'll be so many things that at the end of the day, both of you like, I've had enough. I can't be the only one who's going to keep doing this. I'm walking out of this marriage. At some point this happened to me, and at this time I kind of like made up my mind that I'm walking out. Yeah, this is TMI, but I'm saying this to you. I was almost at the bridge of walking out of my marriage, because I was like, no, I can't keep quiet about this anymore. I can't be the only one doing this. I don't want to be the only one doing this. We need to work together because I believe we are working towards a goal. If it's just one person that is doing all of the work, that means that you don't really care about us reaching the certain goal that we really want to meet in a union, in our marriage. So yeah, we need to work as a couple in a marriage. You need to work together, and it may not be financial, it could be health or even trust issues. You know, we all know trust is a big anchor in the ocean here. When a trust diminishes in a relationship, trust me, I don't know what's going to save such marriages. I don't know what's going to save such marriages. So it just means that both of you need to work together. Don't just leave one person pouring into the marriage. Both of you need to be pouring into the marriage at the same time. If you keep doing this, trust me, your marriage won't stand the chance of breaking. So that's number 3. And another reason why marriages fail often, and ways you can avoid is that you should stop fault finding. I am guilty of that. I am guilty of always fault finding. I think this is kind of like common amongst women, like, you know, especially when we are not on good terms with our partners. If they do something, we are quick to say, hey, but you did this, you were the one who did that, I told you so, I did this, that. Like I said, I hold my hands up to that. I am always fault finding. And why I'm always fault finding is that at times when my husband wants to do something and he tells me, I'll kind of like figure it in my head, and I'll tell him like if you do this, this is why I think, oh, don't do it, or maybe take your time. But at times, you know, as men now with their ego, it will go ahead, and if the things that I already warned him about now happened, and it comes back to me, hey, that's me, jackpot, I would just like, yeah, I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. I'm just trying, I will say I'm growing up to stop doing that, because I've noticed that in the past that when I do that, it kind of like rubs on his ego negatively, and then when I start, it just looks at me in the eye and walk off. Like, it leaves me like, yeah, I know his response will be like, I know you're going to say that to me. And for me not to, like, you know, keep going on about it, it will just leave the room and go away from me. So there was a book that I read. I'll see if I can find the book. It did talk about how to tackle negative thoughts in your marriages. If I find the link to that book, I'll leave it in the bottom, in the comment section or in the description box for you, so you could go read it as well. And there may be so many broken promises in the marriage, negative feelings, negative comments, even comments alone. I know it's some of the words that I use at times that kind of like gets my husband upset. Like in my marriage, I am the hot one, he is the cold one. So when I'm fault finding, when I'm doing all of the talking, he just goes. He's not going to stand there and do that with me. He just goes. And I'm praying to my God to give me to pour cold water, to pour me water, so that I know I can stop doing that. Yeah, for me, I would say he understands that. Yes, he knows me for that, and he knows how to get away from it. But there are some couples who some men might not be able to, like, no, you see out there, you say that to me, you know, this way, you know, DV start coming in. So in terms of fault finding as well, whatever you feed your mind also will also come into the past. So the reason this is why, you know, marriage could fail. So if you're feeding your mind that, oh, it will never change, it will never get this done, it's going to be keep failing and stuff like that. So it's, if you feed your mind with negative thought about your marriage, trust me, it's going to fail. So your mindset in a marriage, when it comes to fault finding, set the stage of your marriage. So if you think you married the wrong person, then all that this person is going to do to you is going to come to you as negative. So your mindset matters a lot. So we need to calm it down. We should be calming it down when it comes to fault finding in relationship. And the next one, I've lost count now, is communication. Hey, communicate. I know I've seen some couples whereby, you know, at times when I see them talking, like when I hear kind of things they are talking, I always envisage in my mind that this is how I want to be able to communicate with my husband. For me, one thing I struggled with in communication with my husband, at times I find it really hard to communicate with him. And at times I'm thinking in my head, is it because of the age difference between us? Because it's like 9 years older than I am. And at times when I communicate with him, I struggle because I want to use the right word. I don't want to sound like, you know, being disrespectful, being rude. And then in my head I'll be like, he's my husband. who else should be rude to him? Who else should be disrespectful to him if not me? Like indoors, not outside. I hope you guys understand. So they say communication is very important in marriages, and I believe that if you are able to communicate to each other, then you'll be able to solve whatever issues that may be arising in a marriage. Like I've read of cases, like I've read of stuff on social media whereby marriages fail due to lack of communication. And if you both of you are not able to express yourself verbally the way you want to, like I said, resentment is going to start coming in. And if you're not able to share how you feel, if you're not able to share your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, then at the end of the day, that marriage is going to collapse because you're going to find your way up. Because when you're supposed to be talking together, that atmosphere, that avenue is not there. So you find yourself speaking to somebody else, and from there somebody misleads you, and whatever they feed you, you're like, yeah, they're the ones that knows the most about your marriage. Even though you are the one who is actually in the marriage, you should be the one to know how to communicate with your partner. So like I said, sometimes being too eager to solve a problem will fail automatically if you don't listen to your spouse. So if you are eager to communicate and the other one is not willing to, it does not have to be the end of the communication or conversation. Maybe just need to revisit it at a time. There have been times that my husband and I, maybe we're having a conversation and we want to say something, I will just flare up like that. Once I flare up, it will just keep quiet and go. It will let me rest, like let me cool down a wee bit, and then that might take a few hours, that might take a couple of days, but we'll still come back in a way, to kind of like have that conversation. So I believe conversation is like just like it's just like as medical school is to a doctor, so is communication is to married couple. So in order for your marriages not to fail, in order for your marriage to succeed, communication is one of the things you have to really hold steadfast up onto. And so, is your marriage actually failing or succeeding? How do you know if your marriage is failing or working? Reflect not just to yourself, but as a whole, as a marriage as a whole. Like reflect, like how you started, what you really want out of your marriage. And in terms of fault findings, I believe with the fault findings you can't get away from that, because no partner or no member of it, no part of a marriage wants, like say for instance now, like I said in my example there, that my husband will come to me and say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I'll be like, this thing that I want to do, I don't think it's going to work, or maybe you should not do it, and stuff like that, knowing fully well that when it comes to share things like that with me, I'll always say it as it is. But for him, he will go ahead and do it, and then when it comes back, me, I'm picking fault straight away. And another thing that I felt that why marriages are actually failing is the fact that men not being able to socialize. Like there are some men who are not actually cut out for socializing. And just like I've said, there's a video I made when I just started my channel like that, and I'll live about maybe just a partner resents you. So because you're not the socializing type does not mean that your wife or your husband should not socialize. Just because you don't socialize does not mean they should not as well. Like if you really want to socialize and they don't want to come, let your other half go and enjoy themselves. And if you see them go socialize and they come back happy, at some point you will want to join them and like, oh, that juice that socializing is given to you, I also want to take out of that juice. So successful marriages involves partners working together, just being able to communicate with one another, showing love as well, respecting one another. I know this is easier said than done, but from my own, like these things I've mentioned and coupled with the book I've read as well, these are some of the things that at some point where you struggle in my marriage, and later on I'm growing to kind of like start adjusting and start learning how to do these things as well. So I mean, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the real reasons why marriage is actually failing, and how you could combat that effect, or how to combat that characteristics so that it does not attach itself to your own marriage. So guys, this is the end of my video. Do you agree with what I've said there? What do you have to share in regards to why marriages are failing, or how to ensure your marriage does not fail? Put it in the comments below. Like we are all learning. Like I said, I've been married for a while now, and I think from the stuff I've said so far, I believe those things could be actually be looked into. It's kind of like different from other things I've seen when they talk about marriages not surviving or marriages breaking, but there are other things that we really need to look into as well. So hence why I decided to come in here and share just my own 2 cents as well. Anyway, this is the end of my video. If you think the points I raised in this video make sense, or you don't agree with some of the things I mentioned, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video, share if you're yet to do so, subscribe as well if you're not done so, and turn on the post notifications so you do not miss any other videos from me. And also don't forget to share this video as well. Grow my territory, grow this channel for me, and I hope to catch up with you in my next video. All right, bye.